McCormack, Chief of Staff for Jackson Public Schools. I'd like to welcome our JPS team members back to this unprecedented 2020-2021 school year. In this brief video, I want to clarify our processes to support our valued Jackson Public Schools team members through this COVID-19 global pandemic. I want you to know that the health and safety of our scholars and staff is our primary priority. It's because of this that our superintendent, Dr. Eric Green, followed the science and the leading indicators to move our district to 100% virtual instruction through the first semester. Jackson Public Schools is open for learning, but as we move to supporting virtual instruction, this year will look very different. We ask for your patience, flexibility, and collaboration as we brave these new changes. Let's start with the law. In response to the COVID-19 global health pandemic, the U.S. Congress passed the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. This law has two main components, the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act and the Emergency Family and Medical Leave Expansion Act. First, let's address the Emergency Paid Sick Leave. If you are experiencing COVID symptoms, have encountered an individual with a positive COVID test, or need to care for a family member with COVID, you can now activate up to 80 hours of paid leave through December 31st, 2020. The 80 hours is cumulative and can be split among multiple instances, but once exhausted, the employee must seek sick leave first, then FMLA. In the response to a reinfection or new circumstance requiring self-quarantine or care for a loved one, you will not receive an additional 80 hours, but need to utilize your sick leave or activate the second component of the law. The second component of the law is the Emergency Family and Medical Leave Expansion Act. This provision provides for 10 weeks of additional leave at 2/3 of a full-time staff member's rate of pay when 1. Caring for an individual who is subject to a federal, state, or local quarantine order, 2. Caring for a child whose school or place of care is closed or childcare provider is unavailable due to COVID-19 related reasons, or 3. Experiencing any other substantially similar situation that may arise as specified by the Secretary of Health and Human Services. The district has set up procedures to support staff members in compliance with these new federal laws. Let's discuss 3 basic types of situations and what you should do in each case. First, a staff member who is quarantining but asymptomatic or not feeling sick and can work from home. 2, a staff member who cannot work and needs leave. Or 3, a staff member who can work but needs a reasonable accommodation to make work possible. In situation 1, a staff member who is quarantining but asymptomatic or not feeling sick and can work from home. This staff member may have come in contact with someone with COVID-19 and is not experiencing symptoms. Under doctor's advice and following CDC guidance, they should secure a COVID test and communicate with their supervisor that they need to self-quarantine. If the staff member's job is one that can be done remotely and they feel well enough to continue working, they should indicate to their supervisor that they intend to work from home, secure the supervisor's approval, and check in as appropriate on their work responsibilities. No additional paperwork is required here. In situation 2, a staff member who cannot work and needs leave. This staff member cannot work for one of the following reasons outlined before. The area is under federal, state, or local quarantine as pronounced by the president, governor, or mayor. 2, they've been advised by a physician to quarantine. They may be caring for an individual under quarantine, experiencing COVID symptoms, or caring for a child whose school or childcare facility is closed. This staff member should communicate with their supervisor and complete the FFCRA request for a leave of absence form. On the form, the employee will provide their demographic information and list the start and end dates of their proposed leave. The form will be reviewed by the Office of Human Resources and, if approved, forwarded to the payroll office. so that their regular sick leave will not be impacted. The payroll team has created a special FFCRA code to denote this special emergency paid leave. In situation 3, a staff member who can work but needs a reasonable accommodation to make work possible. This staff member should communicate with their supervisor and complete the COVID-19 Reasonable Accommodation Request Form. This process is built upon the framework of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Faculty or staff whose age or health condition falls under one of the CDC high-risk categories or who may have other special circumstances may seek a workplace adjustment through the reasonable accommodation process by utilizing these forms. Additionally, staff members who have children whose childcare facility is closed or where schools may be supporting learning virtually and can continue to work from home should complete this form. On the form, the employee will provide their demographic information, a description of their core job duties, supply the reason for the proposed accommodation, and provide any medical documentation in the form of the COVID-19 medical form completed by their primary care provider, or in the case of a child care accommodation, a verification of school enrollment or letter from the child's principal. Documentation must be submitted in either case, and these applications are reviewed on a rolling basis in consultation with the supervisor and the Office of Human Resources. Finally, a determination letter will be emailed to each staff member. At Jackson Public Schools, we are committed to the health and safety of our staff and scholars. For more information or clarification about anything described in this video, call our Office of Human Resources at 601-960-8745.